this is the report that started it all. This is a report that I wrote as team leader of a technical assistance team for the UN on organic agriculture policy. And I discovered that a couple of years later that the director of the National Innovation Agency, which was a counterpart agency in this project, had republished the very same report under his own name. This is 2005, this is 2008, 2006, 2008. And you can see he's used the same cover design template, simply sticking his own name in front. Okay? And deleting all references to the UN. Why did he do it? And he did it because it was a stepping stone to his PhD thesis, which he had been secretly pursuing. No one at the National Innovation Agency, including me, knew that he was doing this. And this is a copy of his thesis. And I investigated it very thoroughly, and you can see here the highlighted text is all taken from other documents. Not much left, huh? And as Erica reported, she quoted my words, although I would deny it. There are only 14 pages where we have not yet found evidence of plagiarism. Think of those words. There may still be plagiarism, we just couldn't be bothered to look. Okay, so who would have thought that, and so as a result of the complaint letters, so you complain to the Innovation Agency, you complain to the Permanent Secretary, you complain to the President of the University. Those letters are confidential. They are not to be. It is illegal for the government, for these organizations to disclose those documents to the subject of the complaint. I forgot to say, I'm not a lawyer, okay, so I'm speaking here as a practitioner rather than as a lawyer, right? But, this is what happens. And, of course, 9 lawsuits emerged from those complaints. But who would have thought that a complaint of plagiarism could have spiraled into something much more sinister? Over the last couple of years, I've had my wife is sitting here. We were driving to court one day to cross-examine Supachai's witnesses. We were attacked by motorcyclists with a 10-kilogram rock thrown into the back of our car. And some of you will have seen these pictures as well. And then on the 28th of September 2011, we went to hear the verdict. And exactly the same thing happened again. So, the intimidation started to get worse. Then we found that there were people parking their cars outside our house. And this is the police printout of, from the ID card left with the guard. So, you don't want this kind of guys hanging around your house, Okay. And then most recently we found this car outside our house. Now this car belongs, from the ID card, to an army doctor who works in the Supreme Command and is in charge of, guess what? Innovation. What a coincidence. So, and most latterly now, in August, the death threat started, so we've had 400 death threats since August. So this is what we live with on a day-to-day basis, and we live with police protection now. Okay, so a couple of points about the legal side of defamation cases. First thing is that the defendant, as Supachai said, is always at a disadvantage. The plaintiff can go to the police station and file a police report. The prosecutor will prosecute at the state's expense. And he just sits back and watches it all unfold. You, on the other hand, as a defendant, must find a lawyer. Supachai was lucky enough to be able to find a pro bono lawyer. I was not. And so, with 9 cases, it has been very expensive to do this. Not to say time consuming. The second point I wanted to make was, in terms of the uncertainty and the fear that the criminal libel law instilled in people. Why does it instill fear? It's because of the latitude given to prosecutors and police in interpreting, and because the burden of proof is, of course, on the defendant rather than on the plaintiff. It is uncertain. Interpreting sections 3 to 6 and 3 to 9. The police and the prosecutors always seem to have a tendency to lean towards the protection of private interest rather than the protection of public interest. Okay? So you really have to prove, if you want to use the public interest defense, you have to try very, very hard. And how do you prove the first point that Supachai made about good faith? How do you prove good faith? When you've been in a dispute with someone for a year or more, or 5 years. How do you prove that you weren't motivated by malice, and your intent is very much taken into account in the prosecution process? So there's a lot of uncertainty about how will the court interpret what you've done.